Hey, how's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Oh, no problem. No problem. It's my pleasure.
Well, awesome. Well, of course, we're here to talk about the brand new Hammerfall album, Built to Last, which is coming out next week through Napalm Records. What went into the songwriting for the new album?
The songwriting process this time was a little bit different than normal. Because normally we end a tour and then we have like 6 to 8 months off, which I use to write songs for the new album, and then we start recording it. But this time we were doing a lot of touring and a lot of stuff, a lot longer than we normally do. So the songwriting process for me was a bit hacked up in segments, and I did not really care for that so much. It was kind of stressful and hectic. I didn't have that relaxed, calm feeling about the songs because I chewed on them for a while, and then I know that, okay, this is really good. This time I had to trust my gut feeling a little bit more because I worked on one song, okay, this is done, ship it off and go do the next one, instead of savoring the songs, which I normally do. So that was the biggest difference for me. But I guess a little bit of stress is always good for you, a little bit of pressure that keeps you on your toes, and I think that's what happened this time. But it was a lot less fun than normal, let's put it that way.
Well, I can at least say from the final product that I've heard so far, I think that really did help inspire more creativity when you're under that different kind of pressure, and it made for an amazing album.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I think that's how it turned out. Like you said, that's the end result. And I think this album, I didn't really know until we started recording, because like I said, I didn't get the chance to get the feel for the songs. But once we started recording and everything fell into place, it felt like we had an album that was comprised of 10 really, really strong songs, and that's the way I like it. I like an album to be consistent. I don't like an album that has, like, let's take Europe, for example. You know the band Europe, the Swedish band?
Oh, yes.
Their album, The Final Countdown, has a couple of like mega hits and majorly great songs. But then they also have a couple of songs that are just okay, basically. But then the album after that is out of this world, and those songs are maybe they are not as, the highs are maybe not as high, but the lows are certainly not as low either. So it's much more a consistently great album, and that's what I'm trying to do basically for the last 15 years, is to write an album, not just 10 songs, just to put together an album that the songs will complement each other, will be varied, and songs that not just 5 songs that sound exactly the same, but songs that have their own identity. And I think that's what we really succeeded with on this album, and that's what I'm so proud of with the Built to Last, because after 10 years, this is 10 albums, this is our 10th studio album in 20 years, so I'm very happy to feel that we have this sort of hunger and this sort of creativity still left in us, basically.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I was definitely gonna point that out as well, is that it is an amazing album, not just a good collection of songs, but from start to finish, the track listing, the production, everything behind it is just amazingly solid, and it makes you want to just go back and replay it, and it's great when an album has that kind of standards to it.
Yeah, we're trying to do that all the time. I mean, the thing is with recording, and a lot of, I don't know how people look at it these days, but this was a revelation for me, that when I discovered it, this I think was about after Renegade. This is when I started to think of things this way, like writing a full album, to make sure that it not just, like you said, not just 10 songs that are there, but an album that has an ebb and flow to it and everything. And I think our music has really improved since then because of that, because of, how you do something enough times, you learn, otherwise you're a moron, basically. So
yeah, and again, it's just like, sometimes it takes that added pressure of not writing the same way that you have in the past to inspire a new way to create songs, and despite not being able to savor the songs like you had in the past, sometimes that can be a great thing, and there's some amazing stuff on the new album that I'm pretty sure just came from that.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. That's the way it is with everything. Like I said, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of stress is helpful in a lot of ways. It's not fun when you're in the middle of it, but I think for the end result, it was definitely a good thing.
Do you ever see yourself going back to that for future albums, or do you want to get back to being able to savor the songs more?
Yeah, I think for my personal taste, it's much easier for me when I have the time to know that they're good. The process isn't that much different. It's just the what happens after I'm done with the song. That's what has been different. Normally I during certain times during this at certain times during the songwriting, I go back and listen to what I've done so far. That might be something I probably shouldn't do. Because then. That might be part of why these songs sound the way they do, because I did not go back and check what I already had. I knew from the titles, but I didn't listen to it over and over. And I think that also helps when you're recording. When you're recording the guitars, for example, when you are busy doing that stuff, and you of course you know the songs, but you haven't played them to death yet. That's why you're in the studio. So I think that helped a lot with the delivery too. The reason this album sounds so energized and hungry, I guess, is because that's what we wanted it to be. And I think a lot of this comes from the fact that we didn't rehearse everything to death before.
Yeah, and I was going to say, too, it kind of felt like it had a live feeling to it, where, kind of like you said, you didn't have as much of a chance to rehearse the songs as you had on past albums before you went into the studio, and it just has that live, fun energy to it.
Yeah, we've been going hard from the last two albums. I don't think we really succeeded as much as we wanted to on Revolution, but with Built to Last, definitely. I mean, obviously, it is a studio album. It's supposed to be in the studio and all that, and it's supposed to have a studio standard, but we also were not afraid to leave in the dirt, so to speak. I felt our albums in the past have been a little bit too clean, and that the clean and that thing takes away from the energy and from the power of it. And we decided to let things just the delivery was more important than if it was 100% correctly played. Let's put it that way, and that helped. And that has a lot to do with why Built to Last sounds so alive, because we want to get that live feeling to it.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, when you finally do get to play more of the songs live on upcoming touring, it's going to be that much easier not having to worry about it being 100% and beaten to death already, because it's still brand new.
Yeah, I think this is something I just realized now that it might have something to do with it. I just didn't think about it that way before. but yeah, that helps a lot. We didn't rehearse one single time for this album. No, I mean normally we don't really rehearse that much before a studio album anyway. But we have been. I don't think maybe for Revolution and Built to Last, I think those are the two albums that we didn't rehearse 1 second together. I mean, everybody played at home, but never together. And like you said, this probably has something to do with why it sounds the way it does.
And with that, have you had the chance to do any rehearsing of the new songs yet after the recording?
Not yet. No, not yet. The first show is after New Year's, so we're going to do a rehearsing in November and December, I think. And that's going to be fun to see how things sound together. When we have to play everything, in like a live setting, basically. But so far, we have nothing. We haven't got together yet.
So there's no ideas yet for what you're going to be playing in the set yet?
Oh no, not really. I mean, we're obviously going to do Hammer High because it's a single and everything. But apart from that, I really don't know what we're going to do. We will see when we start playing together. We still have about a month to come up with the set list.
Well, that also makes it fun too. It's a little more spontaneous that way and more enjoyable for a live setting when you don't necessarily know what you're going to be playing months in preparation for the tour.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. We don't live in the same city. Two of us live in Gothenburg, and the other three live in Stockholm. So that means that we don't get together all the time and play. It means that it is a bit of a project to get everybody at the same place at the same time. So that means also that we don't rehearse more, and I think that helps in this case, because we're not a young band. We're not the teenagers that have to rehearse 3 times a week to learn our instruments or anything. I mean, we've been around for many. I'm 44 years now. I've been playing guitar for 30 years, so I might not be Yngwie Malmsteen, but I know what I'm doing, if you know what I mean. We don't really need that thing anymore, which makes everything easier to deal with on this level.
So with that, I mean, has there ever been like any time in the present, like in the last few years, where you go back to those older songs like Crimson Thunder or Renegade and you forget how something goes and then you have to remind yourself of how it goes, or is it all just completely standard at this point?
No. Every time we play a new song, I have to go back and look at what happened in those, especially those old. I mean, I've written about 100 songs so far with Hammerfall. Not quite, but almost. And it's impossible for me to have that all in my head still, even though I would like to. And even actually, to be honest, sometimes I go back and look at a song that I haven't listened to in 15 years or so, and I can't really remember how I did it. I have to to learn how to play it from listening to it the way I do with all my favorite bands. So for sure, not everything is not stored on my hard drive. So in my head, I have to relive it, so to speak.
Oh, sure. And is that fun for you to go back and listen to those old songs and remember those parts that you had forgotten?
Yeah, it is actually, because at first, the weird thing is sometimes you can't really understand how the hell did I do this. I can't. My fingers don't want to do it. They don't have that. The muscle memory is not there anymore. But if you play it enough times and you think about it, and then, oh yeah, there it is. So then your fingers sometimes do it for you without you even knowing what you're doing, basically. And that's helpful. You can just relax. If you don't think about it, sometimes your fingers and your brain work together without you having to be involved, basically. And that's fun. That's fun when you sort of relearn how you did it.
Oh, definitely. And of course, like you said, after New Year's is going to be starting touring for Built to Last, which includes a North American run co-headline with Delane. That's awesome to be able to see that here.
It's going to be fun. We've done a couple of tours over there, but nothing, not a co-headline tour with a band from a different genre. That's going to be very interesting to see how people perceive this. And for us, I mean, Delane has been obviously touring over there with Nightwish and stuff in the last couple of years, whereas Hammerfall has not been to the States since for 7 years, actually, or it's going to be 7 years next year. And so that's going to be interesting to see how people react to that. But we're very, very ecstatic to do this tour together. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to definitely be a great night for everyone who makes it to one of the shows. And I'll definitely be there when you hit Minnesota, because it'll be my first experience being able to see you guys.
I figured you were from Minnesota. If you look at your last name, it's a very typical Swedish last name. So I'm guessing you have some sort of Swedish ancestors.
Oh yes, both Swedish and Norwegian.
All right, oh, cool. So that Minnesota is going to be fun. I remember last time, because Joachim is born in Mora in Sweden. It's a small city, a little bit up north, and there is apparently a sort of an American Mora in Minnesota somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where, but I remember he went there, on the last tour. I just realized this. I just remember it now. He went to see it. It was a very surreal experience, he said, to see something so Swedish in the middle of the United States. But it was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, Minnesota is very known for the Scandinavian culture here, especially in the Twin Cities area. Yeah,
exactly. So but that's cool. That makes it. I mean, we're all proud Vikings, right? So it makes it fun to go and play in these areas too.
Absolutely. So with this co-headlining tour, are you going to be switching off who plays first and who plays last, or is that set in stone?
No, it's going to be. I mean, Delane has obviously been touring there more recently than us, so they are going to be ending the shows. But it's still going to be co-headline, so we just play before them.
Oh, that's definitely great too. I mean, being able to set up for Delane and get the crowd going, because you guys will easily do that the second you kick in.
Yeah, I mean that's the idea. It's going to be a little bit of a friendly competition. Obviously, we're going to see which band can outdo the other every night. But I'm looking forward to that too. That's it's going to be a fantastic evening. If you like Hammerfall and or Delane, it's going to be a great evening.
Oh, very much so. So I would imagine with co-headline that it would be roughly about an hour or so for both of you guys?
I'm hoping longer. I'm not sure. I don't think we have really discussed the terms like that yet, but I would say probably 75 minutes. That makes more sense to me. An hour seems a little bit short.
Oh yeah, I've seen that in the past with co-headliners where it seems like they're not able to do like a full headlining set each, and they just do roughly about an hour to be able to maintain time. But if you do 75 minutes or more, I mean, that would be amazing to be able to see from both bands.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, don't take this as as the truth yet, because I'm not sure what the deal is, so to speak, that we have reached with them. But I would think that 60 minutes is too late. It's not enough. That's what I feel anyway. Then we'll see what happens. But 75 minutes seems more accurate for me for a tour like this.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be difficult to decide only 60 minutes worth of songs after 10 albums like this. That's going to be very difficult, so I'm hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah, and I was just about to ask that too. I mean, with having so many songs and 10 albums to choose from, I imagine besides the standards that you do have to play, that it is hard to fill up the rest of the set.
Yeah, it's getting increasingly difficult, that just because we have so many songs that we want to play. And last tour we did, we had a really good set list last tour, and we know there are of course going to be songs that we have to play, so to speak. The songs that we absolutely, then they need to be included in the set list. But we also need to include some songs that we as a band enjoy playing, like that gets you a little bit of a kick as well. So we're going to have some surprises for people too. It's not going to be only the standard ones or only the old ones or whatever. We're going to have a pretty broad spectrum of almost every album represented. And I'm not sure how it's going to be in the US, but for a full headline tour, I think we'll play at least one song from every album. And that's the way it should be. I think we need to be I'm not ashamed of anything that we've done. I think every album, if possible, should be represented on a tour. It's not going to be possible all the time, obviously, because it's for time constraints. If it was up to me, we would play at least for 2 or 3 hours every night just to be able to cover most of the bases. But obviously that's not going to work either, because it's too much. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that just makes me so happy to hear that, because there are so many bands out there that just love doing the greatest hits set, and they can't change anything. They can't even change the order of the songs live. And it just makes me very happy to see that any songs are available in the Hammerfall catalog to be played.
Yeah, I mean, it is like that. And as you go progress through the years, I have some favorites that I like. Oh, I wish we could play this song, because I really miss playing that one. It was a lot of fun. And a couple of times, and never again. And like, it's time to bring that one back now. And that's what I think is a strength of ours, that we could do that without really creating a big problem. That because people who like Hammerfall generally like all the albums. I mean, they have all the albums and they know all the songs, and then we just pick a couple of songs to play every night, basically. A couple out of 100 is or something. So I feel that we could probably do this. We could play this song or that song, and it would get the same great reaction from people.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Looking back at previous Hammerfall sets, including past North American runs, I've always been happy with the sets that you guys have done, and I expect no less when you come back here next year.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic on a lot of. I mean, it's going to be also a really cool thing that we're finally back in the US to play. I mean, since we were on tour last time in the US, we have recorded 3 times in the States. First for the Infected album, then Revolution, and then Built to Last. But we still haven't played there yet, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I hope that definitely leads to more touring in the future in North America, because I know just one co-headlining set is not going to be enough for me after I experience you guys live.
Yeah, hopefully if this is a success, this tour, then we will be able to come back. That's what we're hoping. I mean, we've done a couple of tours, and like I said, it's a long time since last time, but this tour kind of needs to be successful for us, and people need to come out and see it. You can't just say on Facebook or whatever that, oh, I wish this band would come here, because this band is coming there now, so go and see the show, basically.
Exactly, and that's all the more reason I'm going to be there when you guys come to Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Oh, awesome. So after the North American run in spring of 2017, do you guys have anything planned more after that?
Not really. I mean, obviously, festivals over the summer. The festival season in Europe is pretty big, so we're going to do that a lot. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do because it's still early for that, but after summer, I have no idea. On this whole tour that we are doing now, that starts in Europe and then goes through to the US and North America, we don't have a single show in Sweden planned, so we're going to do something in Scandinavia, that's for sure. I mean, Sweden is obviously our home country, so we want to do something there, just want to do it right. And but apart from that, we will see what happens. We don't really have any plans right now.
Oh, very cool. So with it being near the end of 2016, do you have any favorite albums that have come out this year?
Good question. Not really. I mean, I to be honest, I haven't found really a lot of albums. I've been looking for some good stuff, but basically what I've been doing is going out vinyl shopping and buying albums from secondhand shops, basically, because right now I can't even mention one album that's come out this year. But I'm sure there are albums that I have listened to and liked, but it's not the same thing for me now that it was 20 years ago. Obviously, I'm in a different place right now. So I'm and a lot of the bands that are being released now, it's good stuff, but it's not. I kind of miss the old days where there was a much more light approach to everything. Forget that. That was I don't have to get into that. What I mean is basically the albums that I've heard this year have been good, but nothing that really sticks in my head. There's one album I'm really looking forward to, though. This comes out in January. It's another Swedish band called Lancer. They are a really young band. This is their second album. I've been following them since the start, and they are really great guys, and this is the type of music that I like to listen to, basically. We're going to bring them on the European tour as an opening act for the whole European tour, and that's going to be great, because then I'll be able to see them live every night. So I'm really looking forward to that album.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm a fan of theirs as well, and I wish that was coming to North America, but the fact that you're able to bring them out through Europe, that is a great thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, they like, you know, that they're a young band, and they are just going to release their second album on Nuclear Blast now. This is the first for that label, so hopefully things are taking off for them, and they will be able to do their own support and or headline tour in North America, because I think this is a band of the future for me.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, with that coming out in 2017, that's already some amazing stuff to look forward to, and especially with the support that you're giving them by letting them be a part of the support slot, that will definitely help raise them higher and higher. Yeah,
but I mean, this is another thing. I mean, we always try to have bands on tour that we feel will enhance the evening for everybody. You know, those are the types of support bands that we want to have on tour. that would make a great package, basically. And with Lancer opening up, it's going to be perfect, because everybody who likes Hammerfall are definitely going to like Lancer. They're in the same ballpark for sure. And then after that we have Glory Hammer, which is a British band, and also the same. It's a British band that sounds a lot like German heavy metal, basically. And this whole package is put together specifically because, you know, you go from Lancer to Glory Hammer to Hammerfall. It's going to be one great night of heavy metal. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, absolutely. With that amazing bill in Europe and the co-headlining tour with Delane, it's amazing to see Hammerfall in such great action coming up in 2017, supporting an amazing album, Built to Last, coming out next Friday through Napalm Records.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to hear you say that. It makes me very happy.
Well, as a fan for so very long, it's been an honor to be able to talk to you and be able to help promote the new album, which I really do love, and I know will be one of my favorite albums at the end of the year. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this interview.
No problem at all. It was a pleasure talking to a fellow Scandinavian, I guess I could say.